Hi everybody, this is Kevin, and I'm doing another chat, a Zoom chat. And as you can see, we've got the lovely Gabriel Avalon, or everybody knows him as Glastonbury Gabriel. So how are you, Gabe?
I'm very well, thank you, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me to this here chat today.
Oh no, it's brilliant, brilliant. All I'm hoping is, fingers crossed, that this is recording, because I have tried one recently which did not work at all.
I heard, yes, you were so disappointed.
You heard Mr. Kellinson from America.
Yes. I think his video that's gone out since then has cheered him up a bit.
Yes, it was a good one.
On that.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a good one. It was good to get the different perspective as well, what it's like in America. You know, you did the walk through Glastonbury, which was great. And for Jeff to do the one from his hometown was, you know, it just shows a comparison between the two places.
And I thought what was really good, you could hear the sense of loss and sadness in his voice as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That really came across. I thought that was quite nice, actually.
Yes.
He doesn't know it yet, but I'm persuading him on a phone call, I hope tonight, that he needs to do a regular sort of dispatch from America.
Yeah, that'd be
like
brilliant.
A diary. Because
Yes.
I think as a lorry driver, that's a fascinating thing in the first place that people over here would love to see. And two, the places he goes. Oh, by the way, there's the Grand Canyon. Oh, by the way, there's the Rocky Mountain.
That's right.
Really? We want to see all that. So I think what I'm going to ask him to do, and he doesn't know this yet, is I'm going to ask him if he'll put together some little clips, send them to me. I'll build the video, and once a week we'll have a diary of a truck driver go out on the Glastonbury Gabriel.
That's a brilliant idea. Brilliant idea.
Yeah, I think it is. And after all that he helps us out, it'd be nice to put him in the limelight a bit.
Exactly. So, Gabe, let's get a little bit of a background of a little bit about your life, if we can. Is coffee?
Gin and tonic. Gin and tonic, honest. Yeah.
Gin and tonic. Okay, yeah.
I wish.
Yeah. So let's get a little bit of a background about Gabriel, about where you
What's
sort
the background?
Have you lived all your life in Glastonbury?
No, God, no. I was born in London.
Okay.
Hillingdon, in the west of London, about 4 miles, if that, north of Heathrow Airport. So
Oh, okay.
down of 707s and back 111s and Tridents and all that sort of lot taking off and landing. In those days, they were a lot noisier than they are now.
Yeah. So then, so you were born there, but then, so did you then move to Glastonbury from there?
No. I'll give you the circuitous route.
All right. Okay.
I was born there in 19... And then I lived there most of my teenage life. I then moved to London for a short period of time. Didn't like London, not a lot. And then I moved to Liverpool. A friend of mine was moved to Liverpool, and he had a room in his house in Toxteth, about less than 3 months after the riots in Granby Street, right where the riots took place. Do you fancy coming and living here? You know, always one for an adventure. I said, yeah. My stuff was in a transit van, and I was going north within 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Never regretted it. I met the mother of my children while there. And then I lived and we moved there, and then we moved up to Ormskirk.
All right, yeah.
Halfway between Liverpool and Preston, much nicer place. You can still go into Liverpool quickly, but you're in the countryside, which is kind of, I like that, the ability to go into a city when you need it, but to live outside the city.
Yeah.
So then I moved from there to Glastonbury in 1992, and then in 1994 I moved to Totnes. I brought up my children pretty much as a single parent, and then I left there in 2009 and came back to Glastonbury again. So I've been back here probably 11 years now.
Right.
Feels like a jail sentence, but hey.
Yeah. Was there a specific reason or a pull that made you go back to Glastonbury? Was it just the area that you loved, or?
I think I tend to live in places for about 10 years at a time and then get bored.
Okay.
And I had lived in Totnes for a long time. I just fancied a change of scenery, and I knew I liked Glastonbury, and I had more friends in Glastonbury than I had in Totnes.
Right.
Even after, I mean, what did I spend there? 2004, 14, 15 years up there, and I still knew more people down here. I just did a house swap. I've got like a housing association. They call them social housing now. It sounds so American, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
Housing
right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's easy because I can just go on this online thing, tap my details in, and do a swap, which was really nice. So I swapped back down here. I've since thought it would be nice to move again because I have aging parents, and I'd like to be closer to them. Although during this lockdown, it'll make no difference. But
whereabouts do they live, Gay?
Well, my mum's in Welshpool, my dad's in a home about 14 miles away. He's got which is another reason I'd like to be closer. I had thought about doing this back in about 2014, and I actually got on the list. And I thought, oh, I'd like to move to Stroud. Stroud's a nice place. I've heard nice things about it. Nobody who's lived there I've spoken to has ever said a bad thing about the place.
Okay, And
it's an hour, over an hour, more than an hour closer to my mum and dad's.
Right.
So, and it's right close to the motorway. So, you know, I can still get back down to Bristol and back down to here if I needed to, but get to my mum and dad's. Because at one point in 2017, I was going every week sometimes up there.
Well, I lost both my parents. So I lost my dad in 2019 and my mum in 2013. And that was, you know, when I lost my dad, that was big. That was huge for me. But when my mother went, that was, well, it was like everything had stopped for me then. It was so difficult because I was very, very close to my parents. You know, and you know, I woke up one morning because I also lost my brother in 2005. And after my mum went, I woke up one morning and I just literally sat bolt up right up in bed, and I thought, Christ, I'm an orphan. The family I was born into was gone, and that was a real shaker for me.
That must have brought you really sharp.
Yeah, you know, I'm coming up to the anniversary of my mum's. It would have been my mum's birthday, 22nd of November. And whenever I get to these anniversaries from with particularly my parents, it's a big emotional roller coaster for me for a day or two. So I find those times very difficult. So parents, you know, all the time you've got your parents, and I know it's difficult this year. It's so vital to be close to them.
I really miss seeing them, and I do often, you know, ponder on what it's going to be like when they're gone, because I can't imagine that. I mean, they're the rock of your life. They've been there all of your life, as long as you've been around.
Absolutely.
They've been there.
Absolutely.
And nobody else can say that. Even my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, can't say that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I do understand. I've been on it from the other side as well. Because the lady I met in Liverpool, she had a problem with alcoholism and drugs. Which is why I moved to Glastonbury. We separated, and she died in 2002 of like drinking stuff related. Yeah. And I had to tell my 10-year-old son his mum had died, and that was really hard. It felt, his face looked like I'd hit him with a brick when I told him. Yeah. You know, I'll never forget that. Yeah. And I know it's affected him and the other two as well, but it seems to have really, you know, Noel seems to have really taken it badly.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to losing mine. Anyway, on a more serious.
That's right. So while you've been in Glastonbury, then you also became a counsellor.
I did, yes. They were really desperate back in 2015. You know, they couldn't find anybody. They even had a pig at one point sitting at the table because they were that desperate. You know.
I was going to say to you, what made you get into local government?
Well, you know, it's always been back in 20. I'll try and keep this very short because we're not going to be on any long. But basically, I had a business doing virtual tour photography, like 360s, so you can go in, look around the place. And I did this project back in 2012, which even when I look at it now, I think, blimey, I think twice about doing that today. Back in 2012, I managed to persuade town council to support me, not financially, just sort of in kind, that I would do a virtual tour of the whole of Glastonbury High Street. So you would be able to, you'd land on the tour and you'd be able to go from tour to tour up the High Street, moving up the High Street, looking around. And every shop would have a button on the door allowing you to enter the shop and look around the shop. And I did it. 2 shops didn't come in, so I did the whole thing. So that kind of got me on the radar of the council. And it also gave me a real interest in the economy of Glastonbury. Glastonbury's a really strange place. it's very easy to think of the high street as a kind of what's the word, theme park. We don't have, well, we have a couple of estate agents, some coffee shops and charity shops, and a co-op, and some bank, well, a bank, and then basically the rest is all like jewelry, crystals, Tibetan singing bowls, yurt dreaming workshops, all that sort of Glastonbury stuff. So it's a very special place for the visitors who come in. Not a lot of use for the locals who have to go elsewhere, but you know, it's part and parcel of what Glastonbury is, and it's important that that survives. So I stood for a ward, an adjacent ward to where I live, so that I would be a councillor for the shopping area. And then during that, obviously, I'd only been a councillor about 6 months, and we had 3 banks at the time: Barclays, Lloyds, and Midland, and they all pulled out of the town within 3 months of each other. Gone, leaving the town with no banks. So I ran a campaign, or I set up a campaign, should I say, with some local business people, and we ran a very successful campaign to the point on the day that the last bank shut, I received a phone call from somebody at the Nationwide Building Society saying, "We hear you've lost all your banks. Would you be interested in having a branch of Nationwide?" So, because everybody said, "Oh, you'll never stop the banks leaving," and we knew that, but we always, our aim was always to leave the town with a provision. And to this day, we still have a Nationwide in this town as a result of the work we did. Kind of that was the biggest thing I did on council, because around about 2 years in, my dad started with a dementia, and I was and I couldn't commit to anything, so I pulled out of all the committees and was literally a monthly councillor, and even that suffered sometimes. So I didn't really stand at the end. That's why I left. But I mean, I would have probably carried on if it hadn't been for that.
Yeah, that's great. To achieve getting Nationwide back into the town, to provide some sort of a banking service for your community is fantastic.
It was good. It was good. I mean, it wasn't. I can't take the credit. I mean, there were several of us. We produced films. We did all sorts of things. It was a very clever campaign that we ran, and it got national attention. But yeah, I mean, it did work out for us. It was good.
Brilliant. So you've also, so you say you've done this virtual tour with your photography and stuff like that. But how long have you been? Because you're very keen on the vlogging side of things now. And I know I subscribe to your channel and watch your videos. They're brilliant.
Thank you.
But what made you actually get into the vlogging side of it? What pricked your interest in doing that?
Lockdown v1.0, basically. I was on lockdown, and I'd started watching the Bald Explorer, the videos, and then during lockdown he did the Daily Show, and I kind of watched that, and I must admit, having that thing every day where you could see other people, it was kind of a lifeline. But it was nice. It was there every day. And I got talking. I rang him up one night for the first time, and we got talking. And I said, "Oh, I work at Halfords. I could do a little video about how to prepare your bike if it's been in the shed for months." So I did that little video there, and it was rubbish. I mean, I had a mobile phone leaning on a chair. And no mics, no nothing, because I was a photographer. I had no video kit. And then basically after that, I can't think what I did. I did another video I put out, and then I just got into it. I thought, oh, I really like this. And now I've sold all my photography gear, and I only have video gear now. I can still take stills because my main video camera, which is I won't bother showing it to you. My main video camera is a GH5. Which is like, it looks like an SLR, so I can still take pictures with it, and I can still, I've got a lens turning up tomorrow, which means I can still do my virtual tours with it, but it's a video camera. And I also shoot on my trusty GoPro, and I've also got an Osmo Pocket, tiny little things. I like running and gunning. I find people react better when you got a little Osmo, because it's so small. You shove a big camera with lights and a big fat microphone with a hairy cat on it, people start going, oh. So you know, I like the little stuff, but I want to get more with this lens that's coming. I'm going to get into using my GH5.
Well, we can do another chat another time about your equipment. You know, just you show us what you've got, etc. And you know, I'm the same. I started following the Ball Explorer about 3 years ago, and that's how I got into doing my videos and having my channel. I always said that if I could get 50 subscribers, I'd be very happy. I think I've got 228, and I want more.
Good man, good man. Mine's creeping up slowly. It changes every day because it's still creeping up.
Mine tends to go up, then it goes back down, and then it seems to get up again.
The people haven't subscribed. That's a weird one, isn't it? You must.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. The weird thing is, you get a notification of who has joined, but then you don't know who's left. Yes,
that's quite right. Well, there we go. 324 at the moment.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, and more power to you.
When I get to 500, I'm going to start a Patreon channel because I'd like to do this a little bit more professionally. Replace the part-time job I have by doing this. And there's a couple of other things I want to do. I might start doing a live show, but completely different to what the Vobesy does.
Yeah.
A vibe show. I was thinking of doing something where I actually look at equipment. So, you know, if you've got a problem with a piece of equipment, like you've got I don't know, a camera or something, or something like this mic, and you can't get it to work properly, you know, I'd have a show about that particular mic. And also, I was going to do live visits. It'd be nice so that if I had a show where people could say, "Hey, I'd love you to go and look at so and so." Well, I'll go and do a live broadcast, because you could do live broadcasts. Some of my equipment, my cameras allow me to stream live. So even my drone I can stream live from. I would like to go out and maybe do some live shows from a place. But again, if I can get onto the Patreon and get a bit of money coming in, then I can jump in the car and I'm not limited just to Glastonbury.
That's right.
Because there's much. I mean, in a 50-mile radius of here, never mind a 100-mile radius, there's tons of stuff. Western-super-Mare's got a helicopter museum. I'd love to go there and have a look around that. Well,
I'm the same. You see, I'm still working now. I work 4 days a week. You know, I'm the only one bringing a wage into the house because I live on my own, and I've got a huge mortgage over my head. Although I'm not paying a lot of money for it, 'cause it's an interest-only one. But if I wasn't doing that, I would love to get out and do more filming. I'm never going to get to the levels that you're at and Richard Vobes and people like that are at, but I'm at the level that I think I've reached my potential. But what I don't like doing when I go out making a video, I don't like to cram masses of information. I like to have a little bit of information, but really tell people what, you know, I'm looking and telling people what I'm seeing so that they can then see it as well. And I like doing it that way. You know, I'm not going to be able. Editing, I've sort of just about got to there now, as far as I need to get. I know you've given me a bit of advice recently using Canva to get the thumbnails right, and that's.
It took me an hour to get mine working again after we did that. It took me an hour to get rid of yours and get mine working.
Oh no!
I don't know whatever. Anyway, do you use DaVinci Resolve?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Anybody watching this, thinking of getting into this, I highly recommend DaVinci Resolve. It's completely free, and it's got all the video editing tools you will ever need, and there is lots of videos out there showing how to use it. And of all of them, it's probably the easiest to use because it has everything you need.
Absolutely.
But a couple of days ago, DaVinci 17 came out.
I'm on 16. I'm on DaVinci 16.
There's a 17 come out in the last couple of days, and it's got some huge new tools. It's worth downloading.
I'll have a look at that then.
Color side of things, it's absolutely amazing. Lots of new features, and it's just so much easier to use again. But that's what
it took me quite a while. I did struggle with it quite a bit, and then Mr. Vobes helped me out with a couple of short tutorials, and I followed them on an old laptop and worked it onto this one. So that works well. But I do, you know, now I've got to the basics of it. You know, I think I will try and do other bits and pieces with it. But you know, I know enough to do what I need to do.
Totally.
It's cool. But look, Gabe, we've got to 35 minutes. 35 minutes. Yeah.
Good gracious, that was
Although
quick.
although we were slightly late starting, but it's been a great chat. But what we'll do is we'll do another one another time, and I'll say we can have a chat about your equipment, and see what else you're doing and what other videos you've been making.
Absolutely, and if if anybody wants to get in touch, they've got any problems with their equipment, I'm more than happy to help. Happy to help. Before we go, I just want to say one thing.
Yes, sir.
A very good friend of mine, Jeff Kellison,
Yes.
American truck driver friend of ours. We both know him very well. I met him for the Vogue show. Has introduced me to an American tradition called ugly jumper. And he has sent me, and the idea is coming up to Christmas, you send each other what you would consider an ugly jumper, and they have to wear it. I'm just going to move the camera because, ladies and gentlemen, this is my ugly jumper. There we go. Sent to me by the lovely Jeff Kellison, which I'm wearing with pride.
It looks like a horrified gingerbread man.
It is, but look at the abs on that guy. He's got a six-pack going on and everything.
That's
I
brilliant.
love this jumper. I love this jumper. So yes, I think it's a tradition we should introduce in this country. I think the idea of sending each other an ugly jumper is fantastic. I love it.
That's one thing we wouldn't mind having from the Americans. The rest of it they can keep.
Well, they seem to have got rid of Mr. Trump, don't they? Hopefully.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Yeah. Let's not get too political.
No, although he does seem a good boy, because I saw on the program today that he's got two lovely dogs, Alsatians, I think.
Oh,
and they're staying in the tradition of animals living in the what's it called?
White House.
Which is great. So he's got dogs. Anybody who likes dogs can't be all bad in my mind.
No, that's right. No. Well, not entirely.
Cats in here. Can you see them over there? There's one bit dark. That's Tim.
Oh yeah. Anyway, Gabe, listen. Thank you very much for doing this Zoom chat with me. Much appreciated.
My
and
pleasure.
yeah, Gabe, you take care of yourself, and we'll have another chat another time. And more power to you. More videos coming out, because I love watching them.
Thank you. Thank you. When's this going out so I can tell everybody not to look at YouTube?
It'll probably be going out in the next within the next week, I should think.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Kev, and keep in touch and keep the questions coming if you have any problems. Did you get rid of your furry muff was showing?
That's been quite a comical thing. So I do a Zoom chat with Cynthia and Steve, and I didn't tell them I was buying it.
Yeah.
And on this particular night, a few weeks ago, when I got it, I had it all attached onto the GoPro and everything. And I brought it over and I put it in front of the camera, I'll just give it a shake. And I said, "How do you like my wobbly muff?"
Well, I've got one here.
And they were in absolute hysterics over it.
I'll have to get this out very carefully and very quietly, because this one goes on my, my shotgun mic.
Oh, right, yeah.
I have to put me back to the cats. They see this, they go berserk. They try and kill it. I don't know what they think it is, but I have to hide it from them in this plastic bag, because I'll come home and find it destroyed otherwise. So, the joy of living with animals, isn't it? I love it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure. I'll let you go.
Okay.
You've got to sort this out.
Yeah, okay, mate. I'll take care. I'll speak to you again soon.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gabe. Bye-bye. Cheers.